Allen, Anderson, Bates, Bell, Berryhill, Block, Canella, De Leon, Fuller, Gaines, Galgiani, Hall, Hancock, Hernandez, Hertzberg, Hill, Hueso, Huff, Jackson, Lada, Leno, Leyva, Liu, McGuire, Mendoza, Mitchell, Monning, Morlock, Morrell, Wynn, Nelson, Pan, Pavley, Roth, Runner, Stone, Vidak, Wykowski, Wolk.
The Secretary notices that we are absent the quorum. Would the members please come to the Senate chamber for our 9 a.m. session? All senators to the Senate chamber, please.
Allen, Anderson, Bates, Bell, Berryhill, Block, Canella, De Leon, Fuller, Gaines, Galgiani, Hall, Hancock, Hernandez, Hertzberg, Hill, Hueso, Huff, Jackson, Latta, Leno, Leyva, Liu, McGuire, Mendoza, Mitchell, Monning, Morlock, Morrell, Wynn, Nilsson, Pan, Pavley, Roth, Runner, Stone, Vidak, Wykowski, Wolk.
A quorum is present. Would the members and our guests in the, beyond the rail and in the gallery please rise? We will be led in prayer today by our chaplain, Sister Michelle Gorman, after which please remain standing. We will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Senator Wykowski.
As we gather today, let us give thanks to our God in the words of E. E. Cummings. I thank you, God, for this amazing day, for the leaping greenly spirits of trees and a blue true dream of sky, and for everything which is natural, which is infinite, which is yes. We who have died are alive again today, and this is the sun's birthday. This is the birthday of life and of love and wings, and of the gay, great happening, illimitably, earth. How should tasting, touching, hearing, seeing, breathing, any human merely being, doubt unimaginable you? Now the ears of my ears awake, and now the eyes of my eyes are opened. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, sisters.
Good morning, colleagues. We will proceed with the privileges of the floor. Privileges of the floor. Senator Pan at Senator De Leon's desk.
Thank you, Madam President, members. This year marks the 150th anniversary of the Chinese immigrants' contribution to the building of our first transcontinental railroad, which began on the West Coast right here in Sacramento. In fact, in 1865, Chinese immigrants were called upon by the Central Pacific Railroad to lead the building of the most challenging section of the Transcontinental Railroad up and over the Sierra Nevada mountains. The completion of the railroad united California to other western states and to the eastern parts of the United States. It led to the rapid growth in California's agricultural production and economic growth. It's an honor for me today to present a resolution in celebration of this monumental achievement and the contributions made by Chinese immigrants to the Transcontinental Railroad. And I'm pleased to present to you the 150th Anniversary Celebration Planning Committee to celebrate this milestone in American history. I'm pleased to have Senator Nielsen and Assemblymember McCarty join me in presenting this resolution to the Chinese Railroad Workers Memorial Project. Thank you, Senators.
Thank you very much. And if we could give them a nice round of applause for an historic date in our history. Under privileges of the floor, colleagues, are there other privileges of the floor? Senator Nielsen. Excuse
Madam
me, sir.
President and ladies and gentlemen, Senator, if I may, this 150th celebration just acknowledged in the resolution.
Excuse me, Senator Nielsen. A lot of people here today. I'd like to have some quiet so we can hear our members as they make their statements on the floor. Senator Nielsen.
I'd just like to further acknowledge the resolution just presented commemorating the 150th anniversary of the Chinese involvement in the Intercontinental Railroad. This is initiated and sponsored by an organization many of you are familiar with, the Asian Pacific Islander American Public Affairs Association. Mr. C.C. Yin is a co-founder, and I'm privileged to be one of the initiators as well. The APAPA does a lot of things, including this, but scholarships and internships and a voter forum are their most central projects. And many of you participate in the internship program. I just did want to acknowledge APAPA's involvement in initiating this resolution and this great celebration.
Thank you, Senator Nielsen. Others under privileges of the floor? Senator Huff, do you have a request under privileges of the floor?
I do, Madam Chair, and I'm wondering if we could take up file item 73 as well, which recognizes the Asian American Heritage Month, to fully recognize the people that are here with me today.
Without objection.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I rise today to present SCR 52, which names a month of May.
Excuse me, Senator Huff. I'm sorry, Secretary needs to read.
Sorry.
Senate Concurrent Resolution 52 by Senator Huff relative to Asian and Pacific Islander American Heritage Month.
Senator Huff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I rise today to present SCR 52, which names the month of May as Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. SCR 52 is sponsored by the Cal Asian Chamber of Commerce and the Sacramento Asian Pacific Chamber of Commerce and supported by the Asian Pacific Islander American Public Affairs Association Sacramento chapter. We just saw that we recognize some of the Chinese that were instrumental in building American railroads, but there have been many other amazing contributions that Asian Pacific Islanders have made to our country and to our state. From building the West to artists of this century such as Yo-Yo Ma, author.
Colleagues, please. Attention to Senator Huff, please.
Author Amy Tan, who wrote the Joy Luck Club. California is home to more Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders than any other state. Of the more than 6 million Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, easily 500,000 own and operate small businesses. Their entrepreneurial spirit brings sizable economic contributions to the Golden State's economy. The Golden State boasts 12 Asian Americans and Pacific Islander Assembly members and senators who represent and advocate for the interests of the diverse Asian Americans and Pacific Islander communities. In the 2014 election, California has made monumental strides by electing Senator Janet Wen, the first Vietnamese American member of the state Senate, Assemblymember Young Kim, a Korean American, to the State Assembly, and Assemblymember Ling Chang, who is a Taiwanese American, also elected to the State Assembly. California's Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders come from a number of backgrounds that represent diverse ancestries and interests. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Huff. Senator Wynn.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to thank Senator Huff for the introduction of the resolution, for putting this forward. I just want to just add a few more to what he has stated. You know, Asian and Pacific Islanders, Americans, have made incredible contribution to the history of California and the United States, having, as he mentioned, building the Transcontinental Railroad, serving honorably in the armed forces, fighting for the United States in foreign wars, and advocating for civil rights. There were dark times for Asian Americans during our state's history and the nation as well. You know, there were the Chinese Exclusion Act, the naturalizationship, ineligibility, the Japanese internment, but those are the lessons that we learn as Californians and as Americans that we don't want to repeat. They continue, as he mentioned, you know, advance in, you know, field of arts, fashion, business, technology, education, science, government, law, medicine, sports, and entertainment. And, you know, for this month, the federal government has declared month of May as API month. And so thank you, Senator Huff, for putting this forward, because it would also help all Californians be reminded that there are 5.8 million Asian American Pacific Islanders in our state, and many different cultures, many different languages, and it's a time to celebrate. To celebrate that, you know, we can always respectfully disagree, and we can also agree with each other. But yet again, we're right next door, and we can move on and actually do what's best for Californians. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Nguyen. Thank you. Senator Pan, we actually don't permit clapping, but this is such a auspicious occasion. We'll take one for the Gipper on that. Senator Pan.
Thank you, Madam President, members. I too, of course, want to stand in support of this resolution recognizing May as API Heritage Month. We had previously were able to recognize the awardees of our API leaders here, leading people here, right here on the floor. You know, the API community, as was mentioned by previous speakers, has faced many challenges coming here to both California and this country. In fact, many API are actually immigrants here and have continued to face challenges because of our broken immigration system. We need to continue to move forward. The diversity, we often, particularly language challenges in terms of having access to important services because of language barriers, cultural barriers. These are all things that, even though in history we've struggled, we continue to struggle. And certainly, I appreciate that California is taking leadership in these issues to ensure that we get the best talent in the world from across the world, whether it's from Asia, Africa, from Latin America, Europe, across the world, and that, again, it's great that we're recognizing this very important month and the efforts that we need to make both now and in the future to be sure that, that not only do we recognize, but we actually welcome people of diverse backgrounds here to our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Pan. Senator Lara.
Madam Speaker and members, I also rise as a member of the California Latino Legislative Caucus in support of SCR 52 and also remind the rich history of Asian Latinos across this country, specifically when you talk about cities like Mexicali down in the border, where once the Transcontinental Railroad was actually built, many Chinese fled discrimination to Mexicali, and now there is a rich Chinese-Mexican culture. Mexicali, as a matter of fact, the best Chinese food is in Mexicali. And if you talk about Koreans, once they fled the war, many of them fled to the Yucatan Peninsula. So you have a rich Korean-Mexican culture. And specifically in my district, in Linwood, you have Plaza Mexico, which is built by Korean Mexicans. So it goes to show the rich tapestry that we have of Asian Latino culture in the United States and in California. So I'm proud to rise in support of SCR 52.
Thank you, Senator Lara. I was hoping someone would get to the magnificent Chinese cuisine that we're all so lucky to enjoy. Any further debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Senator Huff, would you like to close?
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to thank all my colleagues for their contributions, and with us today to witness our hopeful support for this resolution are members of the Cal Asian Chamber here in Sacramento, as well as APAPA. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Huff. All debate having ceased, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. Aye. Anderson. Aye. Bates. Aye. Bell. Aye. Berryhill. Block. Aye. Canella. Aye. De Leon. Aye. Fuller. Aye. Gaines. Aye. Galgiani. Aye. Hall. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Hernandez. Aye. Hertzberg. Aye. Hill. Aye. Hueso. Aye. Huff. Aye. Jackson. Aye. Lara. Aye. Leno. Aye. Leyva. Aye. Liu. Aye. McGuire. Aye. Mendoza. Aye. Mitchell. Aye. Monning. Aye. Morlock. Aye. Morrell. Aye. Wynn. Aye. Nielsen. Aye. Pan. Aye. Pavley. Roth. Aye. Runner. Aye. Stone. Aye. Vidak. Aye. Wachowski. Aye. Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Please call the absent members.
Berryhill. Pavley. Pavley, aye.
Ayes 38, no 0. That resolution is adopted. Congratulations, and thank you all for being here. Again, we are on privileges of the floor. Are there any other privileges of the floor? Senator Mitchell? At Senator De Leon's desk. I'm sorry, Senator Huff? Senator Huff. Thank you, sir. Yes.
Madam President, I have with me a very loyal employee, and his Micah Grant and his wife, Janae. I've had the privilege of working with Micah for some time now, and he's been in my communication shop. And, you know, our ability to do our job here is really only as good as the staff that serve us, and Micah has served exceptionally. Sadly, we lost him to Board of Equalization member Runners, or I guess it's Senator George Runner, Board of Equalization. I never get that quite straight. But anyway, we're glad he's still in the family, and I just wanted to recognize Micah for all his great contributions to the Senate. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, and best wishes to you. All righty. When this clears out, Senator Mitchell at Senator De Leon's desk. Senator Mitchell.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Colleagues, today I'm honored to present a resolution along with Speaker Tony Atkins on the Assembly side for 911 for Kids Education Week and 911 Heroes and Dispatcher Day. 911 for Kids Education Week provides public awareness and educational events in schools and production and distribution of educational content on 911 designed to educate all people of all ages on the important and most importantly proper use of 911. Along with the Education Week is 911 Heroes and Dispatcher Days. The 911 Local Heroes Medal of Honor is bestowed on a young person who distinguishes him or herself by calling 911 to help save a life, property, or to report a crime. Equally as important, this award is presented to the 911 dispatcher call taker who processed the call and dispatched the appropriate emergency response help. We have several people we're going to recognize today, and we're going to tell you why they are going to receive the Medal of Honor Award.
Colleagues, excuse me, Senator Mitchell, can we have some quiet, please, on the floor? Quiet on the floor, if you please. Thank you, Senator Mitchell. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. May 24th of 2013, 10-year-old Nina Martin was home alone, enjoying the start of her summer break. Her doorbell rang a few times, and when she looked out the window, she saw a male subject walk around the house and through the side gate into the backyard. Nina ran upstairs and immediately called 911 and armed herself with a stick. That's girl power. She then heard the male subject enter her house and begin to walk around downstairs. Dispatchers Julie Catelli and Janae Dabrowski quickly entered the incident into the computer-aided dispatcher system, and officers were dispatched immediately. Just after calling 911, the male subject fled the house, and neighbors saw him jumping fences. The neighbors also called 911, which provided critical information for responding officers. Due to their quick response, the male subject was shortly located and apprehended. On January 4th of this year, 11-year-old Jake Pritchard was on an outdoor hiking and rappelling adventure with his dad and older brother in Yolo County. While hiking, Jake's father plummeted down the edge of a cliff and landed in a tree on the cliff's face. In efforts to assist his father, Jake climbed down the mountainside, retrieved the cellular telephone from his dad's pocket, and dialed 911. Unfortunately, Jake didn't know the location where he and his family had traveled to, but public safety dispatcher Jennifer Giselle worked with her peers to retransmit the call, pinpoint the GPS signal being transmitted by the cell phone, and notified CHP Air Operations. Thanks to Jake's quick thinking, using his shirt as a flag to get the aircraft's attention, the air crews were able to quickly locate him on a shelf overlooking his father's location. After hoisting Jake safely to the nearby command post, H-32 returned to retrieve his father, who was still dangling in a tree off the side of the cliff. After bandaging and preparing Jake's father for rescue, H-32 hoisted him from the steep ridge and safely into the confines of the aircraft. Jake's father was transported to the Kaiser Hospital Trauma Center in Vacaville, where it was determined that he fell approximately 140 feet. Jake's father, Ryan, is on his way to a full recovery from the injuries he sustained from this horrific fall. Jake's courageous descent from the cliff's edge to his father's location, his clear description of the incident, along with the perseverance of the dispatchers, air crew, and fire department ground units aided in the timeliness and success of this life-saving rescue. So today, colleagues, we honor all of those who were involved in these two courageous incidents. Young hero Nina Martin, dispatcher Julie Catelli, dispatcher Janae Dabrowski, young hero Jake Pritchard, dispatcher Melissa Coons, Sherry Speakman, Brianna Martinez, CHP aircraft Chad Jesse, Flight Officer Jeff Morning, Pilot Peter Gavite, Paramedic Craig Coyle, Paramedic Ben Schmidt, Pilot Monty Emery, and Paramedic Brandon Hallam. Can we give them a round of applause?
To these heroes, thank you.
Along with honoring our 911 heroes and dispatchers, we'd also like to honor a very special person today who's brought credit and distinction to himself through not only his career as a professional football player, but for the many civic activities he is involved in, which includes serving as the national chairman of Athletes and Entertainers for Kids in the 911 for Kids program. We all got to know Tim Brown when he started his college football career playing for Notre Dame, where he won the Distinguished Heisman Trophy Award. And then we really got to know and enjoy him when he played 16 years in the NFL for the Los Angeles and Oakland Raiders. I'm an Angelino, so okay, that's right, that's all right. Mr. Brown established himself as one of the NFL's most prolific wide receivers while he played in the Raiders organization. To cap off his career as a professional football player, Mr. Brown will be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame as a member of the class of 2015 this August. He's not here today to talk about his football career. He's here to honor some incredible kids who acted with bravery and confidence in an emergency crisis situation, and to honor the 911 dispatchers who worked behind the scenes in cooperation with law enforcement, fire, and emergency medical response teams each and every day. They are the men and women who answer the calls and are the true first responders when a disaster or emergency strikes. We want to thank Mr. Brown for being a dynamic role model for all people who believe strongly in their obligation to improve the quality of life for future generations, and for honoring California's true heroes, today's 911 heroes. With that being said, on behalf of the California State Senate, Mr. Brown, if you join me, we'd like to present you with this resolution.
A warm welcome and thank you to the great football star and humanitarian and our heroes for California. And thank you to all of you. We are in your debt. Any other privileges of the floors? Any other privileges of the floor? Seeing none, messages from the governor will be deemed read. Messages from the assembly will be deemed read. Reports of committee will be deemed read and amendments adopted under motions, resolutions, and notices. Without objection, the Senate journals for May 11th through May 14th, 2015 will be approved as corrected by the minute clerk. Any other motions, resolutions, and notices? Seeing none, we will go to consideration of the daily file. Under second reading, Mr. Secretary, please read.